going on, Jello family? Alright, today's video we're going to talk about how to make $300 a day working from home. And the only reason I feel like I can speak upon this is because I have been able to do this working from home since graduating from college. And I honestly have had managers as well as colleagues who have not went to college, and they're still either doing this work from home job, making $300 a day, which almost equates to about $100,000 a year after bonuses, taxes, kind of, So I just want to share how it works, and I want to share that it is possible because I've had colleagues who have not went to college. I've had colleagues who were able to just secure a role, grow in your company, in your firm, and just kind of make money just by doing a great job in the role. And I truly don't think college is necessary to excel in this type of job. And take that from me too. I have a master's from UCLA in business administration, so I understand what it's like kind of coming from a master's and understand that, maybe it's not really necessary for you to do well. College degree does help. It does help, right? But it is not necessary for you to succeed in your job, your role, whatever it may be. So I got my UCLA hat here. So let's dive in. So a lot of times we all get kind of scared thinking, oh man, what am I going to do for my career? What am I going to do for college? What am I going to do after college? What am I going to do to make money, put food on the plate, and just take care of my loved ones, right? So I kind of discovered, right, I always thought that you need to be extremely technical, you need to get good grades, you need to be able to study hard, do well in school, but that is true and all. However, I have realized that it is nice to get good grades, nice to go to college, but it's not necessary to do that to be successful in life. You can still get a great job. And the job I'm talking about to make $300 a month working from home and being able to take care of your loved ones, this is how I provide for my loved ones in my career. It is called program or project management. Yes, that is called program or project management. So this is how to make $300 a day working from home as a program or project manager, project not product, project or program manager. And a lot of companies, this is kind of one of the bigger growing fields I'm starting to see, is that they need a program or project manager. What does a program or project manager do? Program or project managers, they usually help run several programs or several projects. At my companies, like say at Google, I had to run several projects or programs, right? And essentially it's just having an overall goal of the project and then seeing it through the entire way, right? Most program project managers, they'll have 5 or 6 main projects that they need to kind of execute and work on. And then usually what they do is they have all these small tasks associated with that project or program, and they just execute on them. And by execute, I mean just like assigning tasks associated with it, right? So what does that really involve? Like say at Google, I had to build a data center in like another country, right? So what I do is okay, I had to build a data center. That's like the overall project or program. And then you're going to split it out. Okay, to build this project or which is a data center building, I'm going to need to negotiate with a foreign entity on how much it's going to cost. That's one overall subject. 2, I'll need to work with legal to get all the legal approval to actually get this data center built. 3, I'll need to work with finance to actually get funding for this project. 4, I'll need to work with the communications change management team to let everyone know that we're doing this project. And then 5, I'll need to get senior stakeholder approval to make sure that they're good to go and this is something we want to see through. Okay? That's how you do it, right? It's just, you have one big goal, and that's one project, and then you're gonna have 5 mini goals underneath that, and then subtasks or tasks associated with that. And your job is just to work with other teams to see this whole thing through. So yeah, it's actually pretty straightforward, and it's just scary because it does require you working cross-functionally amongst teams. But that's the fun part about it, especially if you're a super social person. You kind of talking to this person, talking to that person. Oh, I got fun with that person. All right, cool. That is if you're super social, it's you'll do a great job. Even if you're not super social, but you're just very good with executing, you'll still do an amazing job. So just take a look into those type of project management rules. Most program management jobs I've seen, they pay about usually around $100,000 because you're really kind of executing a project or program, and that project or program can make a lot of money for the business. So they usually pay pretty well for that project or program manager, right? So say you cost $100,000, but you execute on this project or program and makes the business like $1 million, right? They 9x their investment on you because you did X, Y, Z. Okay. So program and project management is a great career and a great way to just start where you're kind of coming from. I came from that was like my first role. And I just fell in love with it because I was like, wow, I really like talking to people. I really like working with people, right? And you don't need to be highly technical in order to excel in this role, as long as you have the aptitude to just be able to go out there, talk to people, work with people, and build out whatever you're trying to build out, okay? For me, you were probably wondering, I was like, dude, how do I get this job? How do I get this role, right? You can either apply full-time to a program or project manager role out of college, and usually you'll interview, and then if they like your experience, like you're like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing, this girl knows what she's doing, we'll hire them, right? Usually that's the case. However, if you're not very technical savvy, if you're not very into just kind of the program project manager role, you're a little scared, like, oh, I've never really managed a project from end to end, I need help, then a great role for you to apply is the program or project coordinator role. Essentially, you serve as a support to the program or project manager, or instead of managing 5 or 6 projects, you manage 1 or 2. So it's a great stepping stone, right? What does a program coordinator do? Usually they kind of assist the project or program manager, right? So the program manager will be like, okay, program coordinator, I need you to do this, that. Help me execute on this, because I'm doing all the other stuff where I'm probably gonna have to work with senior leadership. I'm probably gonna have to get approval. I'm gonna get budgeting, finance, all that stuff. So you can work on all these mini subtasks, like setting up the emails, setting up the meetings, working with the team on XYZ. Those are what program coordinators do. And usually what they do is not as high stakes or as highly kind of sought after, or I don't mean sought after, but not as high risk as working with the program project manager. Essentially you're working on kind of the mini subtasks with it, right? So a lot of more so the administrative type of things, right? And that's not to say the program and project manager can do more, or coordinator can do more, right? A lot of times I've worked with program coordinators and they've been so helpful with setting out the change communications, with setting up the meetings, with executing on their operational plan, with developing documentation, things of that nature, right? So you can actually excel in that type of role as a program coordinator, just helping out, and you learn the ropes, right? You learn the ropes to what becomes a project or program manager. And usually on the lower end, right, as a program project manager, you'll make, say, $80K a year. Sometimes most of the time you get to 100K. Usually I've seen, especially in California, I've been seeing most program project managers 6 figures. In big tech, I've seen it up to $300,000-$400,000 a year, even $500,000 if you kind of go up the ladders. So it's kind of crazy just to see how much you get paid to be a program or project manager. And personally, I have negotiated roles where you're making almost $200,000-$300,000 a year on a program project manager, right? So it is definitely possible, okay? But I think these are really great roles, especially for someone who's into the business side of things, who isn't super heavy in technical side of things, and just wants to execute on programs or projects for their team. And you have to realize too, this is a growing field. Essentially, I kind of relate to imagine you were planning a birthday, right? And I got this from Google when I did the project management course or certificate. It's in order to plan a birthday, the overall end goal for that program or project is to have a successful birthday. So how do you plan that successful birthday? 1, you have to find a venue. Find a venue where you're going to host the birthday, right? It could be your house, it could be a hall, it could be a restaurant, right? Number 2, you need to invite guests. So who are you going to invite? Your mom, your dad, your best friend, your coworkers, your friends from school, your colleagues, Those are usually the invitees, the attendees, right? So that's another task. 3, I need to probably buy food or cater it, right? Usually at most parties, you want a caterer or someone who's going to bring food and you're going to enjoy that party because you got a lot of great food. So you'd say, okay, cool, I'm going to get a caterer. That's 3. Number 4. What do we need for a successful party? We probably need to, what else do we need? Have gifts. So create a gift list, right? Usually, sometimes if it's someone's birthday, you maybe want a gift list, or like, what do you want, right? And then people can mark off. You can put down a list like, I want this gift, that gift, this gift, right? So those are like 4 steps. And then number 5, launch a successful party, right? So you have like 5 steps associated with your program or project. And for this program or project, what is that? That is called a birthday party. Okay. So these program projects, birthday parties, that like essentially that's kind of like what it is. Like you're planning a successful birthday. That is your program or project. Okay. So pretty straightforward, right? So I don't want you to like overcomplicate things, right? So if you planned a birthday, probably plan a project or program, right? Of course, like it gets a little bit more complicated as you kind of, depending on where you go, like if you're working for a Fortune 100, Fortune 50, Fortune 10 company, Fortune 500 company, your programs are probably a little bit more complicated, right? So sometimes if you're working for these big corporations, they're like, okay, we want to enter an external market, right? You're very big here in the United States. I want to enter Asia now, okay? So that's like a little bit more complicated problem. Or if you're like Google, okay, we want to onboard and allow our employees to all be able to work from home. How are we going to solve the access problem? How are we going to solve the onboarding problem? How are we going to solve XYZ, right? That is a big project or program that you need to work on, okay? So it's just honestly, it's going to vary a ton, and that's okay because the complexity of projects and programs will vary from your company, but the overall hierarchy, the overall structure, the overall thought process, and the way you solve that program or project most likely will be the same with regards to finding tasks associated with solving that problem, and then adding subtasks to that problem, and then working on executing that issue or problem, okay? So don't be afraid of having to solve for that. And don't be afraid as you kind of level up in your project, your program management career, as you scale, as you have to learn how to solve different problems or issues. It is okay that it's scary. It is okay that you don't know what to do, because the overarching hierarchical structure that you did to solve those issues are going to be very similar or the same. All right? Keep in mind, being able to work cross-functionally amongst different teams, different stakeholders, having people aligned on certain deadlines, that's very important, right? Because if you have an overall end goal of a project on end of the year and you need to do X, Y, Z, then you need to make sure people are aligned with that, right? So program project management pays well, 6 figures, $300 a day, about even more if you're able to go up the ranks. And you don't need a college degree. If you want to apply to these jobs, I suggest LinkedIn.com, Indeed.com, and just apply to those websites. And when you apply, I'm speaking specifically right now, it's taking a lot of job applications just for you to get an actual role, just for you to get an actual job, because of how crazy the market is right now. So you probably need to apply to a lot of roles, but that's not to say that it's always going to be like that. So whenever you apply to lots of jobs, when you apply to lots of roles, just know that you're giving yourself a better chance at actually getting the interview. Okay? So I believe in you. So I want to talk about interviewing, how to master these project program management interviews where you get paid actually $300 a day working remote, because a lot of program management roles are usually remote. And then I'm going to go into, what else I wanted to go into? Software. We're going to go to software after that. And then if I think of more stuff, I'll talk about it. So first, applying to jobs. Okay? Applying to jobs, Indeed.com, LinkedIn.com. Let those be your North Star if you can't think of it. And then apply to, say, 50 jobs a day on Indeed, 50 jobs a day to LinkedIn. Just because the reason the volume seems so high right now is because of how tricky the job market is right now. Maybe it'll be different in a year or two, but right now, it's 2024, it's very, very hard right now, okay? Number 2, Optimize your resume. How do you optimize your resume if you've never had a project program management job, right? Well, I suggest going to an AI model like ChatGPT or Gemini and looking into typing in there, hey ChatGPT, hey Gemini, I need you to imagine you're a program manager, project manager with 20 years of experience working for Fortune 100 companies. You have a master's degree in project management and I need your help. So they're going to start prompting, the AI and prompt itself, hey, oh, okay, I'm sorry. All right, cool. I've done this, that. Right, good. My name is Angelo, and, or whatever your name is, and you're going to be like, okay, here's my resume. This is what I've done. I need you to optimize this for a project or program manager role or a project manager or project coordinator role. And then the AI will optimize it for you. This is like key because a lot of times the AI is prompted like thinking to believe in it's doing a certain function, so you're going to do that certain function. And that in that case, it's a project manager with several years of experience as well as a master's in that field. So it's going to do that. It's going to optimize your resume for you, and then I'm going to need you to take that resume and just apply a lot of jobs. Apply, because that's how you actually get a chance to interview with these companies, especially with how crazy it is right now. So, okay, cool. You did that. You're good to go. Next steps is, got you. I interviewed, or now I actually got a call back with the recruiter, or I have an interview with the hiring manager, and then you're going to be like, okay, to pass these jobs, you're going to need to take advantage of the STAR method. Situation, task, action, result. That is how you do everything. I passed Google's interview with this. I passed Apple's interview with this. Situation, task, action, result. STAR method. This is what they call us in business school as well. Situation, task, action, result. You're asking, what is situation, task, action, result, right? So that is like usually how you interview and ace most project or program manager roles. So usually, whatever experience you have, right? Say you're fresh out of college and you're going for program coordinator role. Situation, task, action, result, STAR. You need to talk about your experience with internships, right? Maybe internship you had a certain issue you need to solve. Or maybe you were part of a club. Talk about a certain issue you face in the club. Or if you don't have club or internship experience, talk about what you did in class, right? Especially in entry-level roles, they will, they're not going to be as stingent with you on finding out what you do for your, or under your experience, right? Because they know you're fresh and they know that they need this headcount to train someone to help learn the role, right? So they're not going to be as crazy strict with it, right? So situation, task, action, result is how you ace these interviews. And that's what I learned at business school, and it helped me so far. It's passed. I talk about all strong hires at Google. I just really mastered the situation, task, action, and result. Okay, so let's walk through how you master the situation, task, action, and result. Situation. Okay, when you think of situation, I need you to think of something where, okay, at my job, at my internship, at my club, or at my class, whatever I've been doing or building a project, what is a situation that I needed to solve, right? So you can say, okay, for this project, I had to, the team is experiencing a tariff that we're starting to face with all our new products coming in from overseas. So we are experiencing 20% tariff, and my situation was that I needed to figure out, or my situation was that we were experiencing tariff. Next, you're going to go into task. Okay, so what's the task? So my task was to figure out a way to adjust our budget for this tariff, this 20% tariff we're experiencing. All right, cool. So we have our situation, which is we're experiencing tariff. Our task is to figure out how we're going to adjust the budget to this tariff. My action that I took, which is our A for STAR, was that I decided to sync with all the engineers on to figure out what parts they would need to come from overseas. And I needed to sync with my finance team to let them know we need these parts. We are forecasting that we'll need X amount of parts. And this is how much it will cost for us to order these parts going forward. Okay, cool. So that's your action. And then another part of the action was like, I will need to raise money from senior leadership. So you brought this updated forecast. This is how much it's going to cost for us to order these parts. And for us to order these parts, we'll need more money from your budget. Senior leadership agrees, and that was the action you took. After you completed that action, what is your result? As a result of this action, which is the R in STAR, you will have made more money in the sense where you will have asked more money from senior leadership because you forecasted the amount you needed. So our budget went from 2 million to say 4 million. So you doubled the budget because they say, you know what, we're gonna give you more money because we think it costs more. So that is your result. Situation, task, action, result. That's how you answer those questions for program or project management. And you're going to do this interview usually 5 or 6 rounds. Seems like a lot. But my advice for you is, even though it's 5 or 6 rounds, you are going to need to have a treasure chest. What is a treasure chest, Angelo? A treasure chest is a list of experiences you've done throughout your career. So I usually have 10 experiences in my treasure chest, and for each interviewer question, I pull something from that treasure chest if it's similar to what I think that the interviewer is looking for, okay? So keep that in mind. Situation, task, action, and result. Yeah, so that's the STAR method. That is how you aced all these interviews: situation, task, action, result. I was able to successfully do that for big tech, and I'm assuming that most companies have similar kind of interview styles, interview structures for those certain types of roles. For me, I've seen that having interviewed in big tech, like Airbnb, I saw is also STAR. They're asking me about STAR. And then I also saw it within like Meta, Google, Apple, and then other companies that I've interviewed for, like in finance. So STAR is usually the way to go, right? And it's going to obviously vary. Like if you're doing an engineering job, right, maybe you're a technical program manager, maybe they might ask you some engineering questions. But usually for the most part, if you're just doing normal like program project manager role, especially if you're in the business operations side, it usually is rather similar. So you won't need to really worry too much about having to like, oh, I'm going to adjust that, right? So, and it's fascinating, okay? So really master this thing called the STAR method: situation, task, action, result. Life is a little easier when you figure that kind of methodology out when you interview for different roles in different companies, okay? Situation, task, action, and result. Okay, so this is pretty great. I want to go in now. I think we talked about STAR, software. Okay, cool. So once you get the job, right? So you're like, all right, negotiate, got my 6-figure offer, work from home, $300 a day, almost $100K a year. Woo! Everyone's happy. Okay, so in order for you to do well in that role, you actually have to get good with software. And the software is not hard at all, right? And most softwares we use is like a project plan software. So you can use software like, I encourage you to just learn one of these, and then honestly, when you learn one of them, you kind of figure out how to do all of them. All right. Hey, it's Angelo speaking. All right, so we're talking about software. So software, what you're going to need to learn is either something like an Asana, Jira, MS Projects. And it's honestly really simple. Like I honestly, when I first kind of learned about the software, I was like, oh man, I don't want to use the software. But because these companies have made it so straightforward, like you honestly learn it like in a day or two. I'm gonna be honest with you, right? So just go on YouTube, whatever you're doing is like you can honestly download. What I would do is, if you're not working right now, or if you're in your company right now, and I would just download a company's like a software called Asana. Get the free one. There's like a free one that you can get, and then just go through like a YouTube video or like a LinkedIn video on like how to do work Asana, right? And just take the whole day to do it, and you can get pretty good at it. So I would do that, right? Learn a project or program management software, because that is how you're going to track your tasks. Because honestly, it gets very overwhelming when you have so many tasks that you need to do, and you're like, I was supposed to do this too. Oh, I was supposed to do that too. But when you have a software tracking your progress on everything, life gets easy. And that's one of my biggest things that I learned. If I could go back into my project program management career and figure out how to do everything again, the first thing I would do is just learn a software, a project or program management software, like Asana, like Jira, like MS Projects. My MS Projects is called Microsoft Projects. I would just do that. And that will make your life a billion times easier, because as a program and project manager, you'll have so many tasks and you will need to execute on all those tasks. And your mind can only keep track of like all the stuff you have to do, like so many things you do. And without having a kind of like a thought process or a software to store everything, then it's like impossible for you to just, remember everything, okay? So for you guys who are just learning right now, just do that, right? Get AMS projects, get Jira, learn it for the weekend, and you'll be good to go. You'll be pro. So that way, when you get that question, you will always, I've gotten this question so many times now. I used to not, but it's like, have you ever worked with a certain project or program management software? And what have you done to, make sure that you use it well, and how you use it in your role or your job? And then you're like, oh, I've used Jira. And you can just be like, oh, I've used Asana. I've used it to help build out this process at work. And if your team, like, right, most companies, some of them may not even have it. They check it on Excel. If they don't have it, there's probably a software that you can download, because most teams like have that software. Most people just haven't integrated it. Yeah, you can be the one to integrate that, right? And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to fail. And then you're getting paid to learn, especially if you're a large company that has an established form of revenue. Like a lot of times you're just trying to increase that revenue or just make it more efficient. It's things of that nature. So do not be afraid to fail. I believe in you. So take a look at that. MS Projects, Asana, project program management software, things of that nature, because this will help you honestly grow, scale your business. Okay. So I believe in you guys. I believe in you guys. It's scary at first, yes, but you gotta learn it, and it's not hard, right? And you can honestly learn anything you set your mind to. So I believe in y'all. So program project management software, that's the one thing. Next thing I want to talk about is certificates, right? Some people will go and get their PMP, they'll get a project management certificate. Yes, get those if you can. They are pretty expensive is what I kind of learned. So if you get a PMP, project management certificate, things of that nature, like cool, that's great and all, but don't feel like it's super necessary, right? I think if you're not coming from, say you don't want to get the 4-year degree, maybe that'd be best, right? You get certificates on your thing, or if you're trying to do a transfer to that certain like role from a different type of role, project management role, you maybe go get those certificates, because it will help you with regards to just, understand the over hierarchy and the structure when it comes to like getting that role or job, right? Because a lot of times if you're coming from nothing, you don't know anything about project or program management, that certificate from Google will probably help. That PMP will probably help. So don't feel like you're at fault for not having that certificate, right? Yes, it's cool. Yes, it helps a lot. And I think the Google one's pretty cheap. It's like 50, $60, nothing crazy. The PMP one is rather expensive. So if you do have that PMP, just know you will be paying quite a lot of money for it, but maybe it will be worth it for you, especially if you're transitioning from a different type of role. So just keep that in mind, all right? So it is very helpful. PMP. For me, I got my first role in project management with just like a bachelor's, and so I'm not saying like it's necessary to get a what's it called, a degree, or like just have something, okay? Whether it be a role or a degree, a certificate, do some training, so that way when you do interview for that role or job, you're not like blindsided on the questions they ask, okay? It'll be a lot easier for you, and I'm just trying to save you some time and some money, especially if you don't want to do that 4-year degree. Do some certificates, 50, $60 from the Google one is pretty good. It's something, right? It gives you something, right? And if you're looking into just a starting, kind of get your foot in the door, look at roles within project coordinator roles. Program manager roles are all great. So don't feel that you need to go straight to the program manager. Like project coordinator is pretty good as well. Okay, guys, I'm just giving you a heads up there. But yeah, I believe in you guys. Like it's all gonna work out. It's all possible. Whatever you set your mind to, you can make it happen. Okay.